Imagine waking up in a sprawling villa on the outskirts of ancient Rome. The city hums with the promise of another day. Merchants haggling in the marketplace, soldiers marching in formation, philosophers debating in smoky taverns. In the midst of all this, a woman, perhaps you, rises to greet the sun. But what will her day look like? What power does she hold? And where does she find herself powerless? Today, we're diving deep, beyond the marble columns and gilded statues, into the untold stories of women in ancient Rome. Prepare to be surprised. The roles, rights, and realities of Roman women are far richer, stranger, and more complex than you might imagine. Chapter 1. Roman women, not just invisible figures. When you think of ancient Rome, who comes to mind? Julius Caesar, Augustus, maybe gladiators in the Colosseum? But Rome's history wasn't shaped by men alone. Across the centuries, women, from powerful empresses to clever slaves, weaved their stories into the fabric of Roman life. Yet for centuries, historians glossed over them. Were Roman women forever confined to the shadows, silent and subservient? Or is there more to their story? Let's unravel the blockbuster drama that was daily life for a Roman woman. Chapter 2. Born into a role, childhood to marriage. For a Roman girl, life's possibilities were determined the moment she was born. If you were a girl in a wealthy family, education might mean basic reading and sewing, enough to run a household but not to join heated courtroom debates. In poorer districts, girls worked alongside parents, selling in markets or fetching water. But here's a twist. Did you know some girls, especially from elite families, learned Greek and philosophy and read Virgil and Homer? What you learned depended on where you were born, how wealthy you were, and, crucially, the mood of your father. And here comes one stark reality. Roman law gave fathers almost complete control over the lives, and even the lives, of their children. Patria potestas, the father's power, was everything. In some cases, unwanted female babies were left outside the city walls, exposed to fate. Grim, yes, but not unique to Rome. It was echoed across the ancient world. Chapter 3. The marriage market, deals, dowries, and destiny. If you were lucky enough, or strategic enough, to reach adolescence, marriage loomed on the horizon, often as young as 12 or 14. But don't picture a romantic wedding. Think of it more as a business negotiation. Daughters were bargaining chips, exchanged along with hefty dowries that could make or break a Roman family's fortune. Who had the final say? Legally, it was always the father. Sometimes the bride never even met her new husband until the big day. Did love ever matter? Occasionally. One rare letter from the 2nd century CE, preserved on a wax tablet, reveals a young woman's raw emotions. She pleads with her father not to force her into marriage. The result? We'll never know. But such appeals were brave and rarely successful. Chapter 4. Inside the Roman home. Domina or drudge? Now, what about married life? A Roman wife, matrona, was expected to run the household like a CEO. She managed slaves, oversaw children's early education, and made sure the family's reputation stayed spotless. The husband might rule outside, but inside, the wife's word was law. Female influence, if subtle, could be powerful. Letters, advice, and even shopping lists show women negotiating, organizing finances, making investments, and sometimes quietly running the show when their husbands were away at war. But what if a woman was widowed? In a twist, widows gained far more freedom, a portion of property, control of money, and the right to refuse remarriage. Some, like the legendary Cornelia, mother of the Gracchi brothers, wielded immense behind-the-scenes influence. Chapter 5. In public, veiled and visible. Contrary to the myth, Roman women weren't always cloistered at home. They shopped, visited temples, attended festivals, and in the later empire, even enjoyed tickets to the best seats at the Colosseum. Fashion, for a woman, was a language. Married women wore the stola, a long, modest gown, and often a veil. Elite women used jewelry and hairstyling as status symbols. The bigger the hair, the closer to the gods, or at least to Roman high society. But there were unspoken rules. A single woman couldn't wear the stola, and only those free by birth, not former slaves, could don certain garments. A woman's clothing silently told everyone her marital status, class, and even her respectability. Chapter 6. Workers, priestesses, influencers, women outside the home. But let's break another myth. Many Roman women worked. You could find women running shops, acting as midwives, making perfumes, or even performing on stage, though actresses like prostitutes were often looked down upon. And in religion, certain women had more spiritual clout than most men. Enter the Vestal Virgins, perhaps the most revered women in Rome. Chosen as children, they kept the flame of Vesta burning and held special privileges: freedom from paternal authority, the right to own property, and seats of honor at the gladiator games. But the cost was high: 20 to 30 years of chastity, and if the sacred fire ever went out on your watch, let's just say the punishment was terrifying. Buried alive? Yes, really. Chapter 7. Rights, or the lack thereof. Let's talk rights. Did Roman women have rights as we think of them today? Not exactly. They could not vote. They could not serve in the Senate. They could not speak in the forum. But, and it's a big but, the law sometimes made surprising room for them. Over centuries, women gained rights to own property, manage inheritances, and in rare cases, initiate divorces. In the later empire, powerful women like Livia Drusilla had secret, almost king-like sway behind the throne. But these advances were fragile and uncertain. They depended on your status, your family, and most crucially, the temperament of men in your life. The Emperor Augustus, for example, famously punished female adultery more harshly than male, making morality a weapon to control women. Chapter 8. Famous Women of Rome: Power, Scandal, and Legacy. Sometimes women shattered all boundaries. Take Livia, widow of Augustus, a political mastermind rumored to have orchestrated imperial successions behind whispers and veils. Or Agrippina the Younger, mother to crazed Emperor Nero, infamous for her boldness and ambition. And what about Cleopatra? Though Egyptian by blood, her story is twined with Rome's greatest, Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. She charmed, outmaneuvered, and inspired awe and hatred in equal measure. But for every famous name recorded by history, thousands of others have slipped through the cracks. Midwives, gladiatresses, poets, and martyrs, each with a story waiting to be retold. Chapter 9. Myths, Mysteries, and Forbidden Freedoms. Were all Roman women law-abiding and homebound? Not at all. Some ran underground businesses, held secret religious ceremonies, and broke rules, sometimes risking their lives for love or freedom from oppressive marriages. Imagine a Roman woman quietly using coded graffiti to announce a forbidden love, or slipping away at night to join unorthodox religious rites. Archaeologists have uncovered tokens, love spells, even curse tablets written by Roman women, evidence that they found ways, however subtle, to assert themselves in a world stacked against them. Whispers from the past tell stories of women accused of poisoning their husbands, or of orchestrating elaborate political schemes. Some became, for a brief moment, the talk of the city. Some rose, while others fell. And then there were the gladiatresses, female gladiators who risked everything for a taste of glory, their names now mostly lost to time. While never as common as their male counterparts, their very existence proves that not all Roman women lived a quiet domestic life. Chapter 10. The Strength Behind the Empire. Historians often say Rome was built by its soldiers and ruled by its emperors. But look closer and you'll see a quieter force holding everything together: the energy and resilience of its women. They raised future emperors and soldiers, kept businesses running, managed vast estates, and performed rituals said to keep Rome itself safe. Their influence often worked in the shadows, but shadow does not mean absence. It means subtlety, adaptability, and quiet power. Ask yourself, how many decisions of history, how many affairs of state and dramas of succession might have hinged on a wife's whispered advice, a mother's encouragement, or a widow's cunning? Rome's expansion and endurance depended just as much on birth, love, family, and daily ritual as on grand conquests and marble monuments.